All right, guys. Happy Friday. Sam here with you. Oh, what do we got here? So it's Friday the 6th, and it's just 12:30 now for me here in Austin. So, of course, we're going to get an update on Bitcoin, and we might look at a few other markets that seem to be having some undue influence on Bitcoin. So what I thought I would do here first, as is often a good idea when the markets are getting rocked like this, just well, of course, what happens right off the bat is you start to doubt your analysis, and you got to kind of slow it down and say, all right, wait a minute. The sky is falling, right? That's the general sentiment, that it's just nothing but ugly everywhere you look. Well, certainly in the short term, it's mighty ugly. But I do think, two things here. One, you got to step back and get some perspective, because if you're looking at a 15-minute chart, it's shit these days. Even the 4 hours, are pretty ugly. But you got to keep perspective on it. Okay, so is the sky really falling here? Well, I'm one of the reasons I use the Brave New Coin Liquid Index here is I can get the full history. Well, I suppose to some degree, how you're interpreting this price action up here would be a function of how you're counting it off of the absolute low. Now, obviously, here I'm in log scale, so it distorts to your eye a little bit, right? So, well, in log scale, it might appear as though 3 is the shortest, but if you just look at the numbers, clearly it's not. So there's a very valid 5 coming off of the absolute low. Right here, I've got a weekly chart. 1212, right? That would appear to be the most probable count here. So then if we allow for that interpretation here, because the alternative, it would be quite the force fit. I mean, the only alternate I can see is that we were trying to do something like this in some sort of a truncated C here, but it would be a WXY, I'm sure. But so why go to Abby normal right off the bat, right? Just to accommodate your panic over here. Usually a bad idea. So before we get off this here, like Jesus, I've been on this for over a year. So let's just review for a second, right? Because it's interesting now as we're hitting what it could be, right? What could be the pivot for the triangle. Virtually everybody is sure that's going to break. It's an interesting thing that happens. I mean, you can do this analysis here and watch it happen. And we've been waiting for over a year. Now we get it. And I mean, you could make an argument here that it landed, well, not perfectly, but certainly, well, just looking at that trend line here, if we're going to get a triangle, this is the area where we might anticipate some bullish reaction here. Now, are we going to get it? Could this break? Of course, right? Anything's possible here. But it just amuses me. So we wait for a year to get to this point right here. Right now, this again, right? We've talked about this in great detail. With D, you would have liked it to be a little higher. There's not great subdivision in here, but in the broader context, now as it gets right there, everybody's sure that's going to break. Positive, right? Nobody's looking on the long side there, which of course, as soon as you feel that sentiment across the space, boy, gets me itchy to looking for an entry on the long side rather than, okay, because what is the general, what's the crowd thinking? Oh, well, it's over. Oh, it's over, right? Fed is hiking and Bitcoin is over, and everything that we had talked about, and the evolution of money, and it'll just the entire transformation of the financial systems will be tied to blockchain. All of a sudden, everybody's like, forget that, right? That was all just hopium. It's funny, right? It's not surprising, right? It's to be expected, right? What do whales do? Right. I mean, nobody more famous for this than Warren Buffett, right? When do you want to be buying, right? When people are most freaked out, the most scared, most sure that the market's going to continue to go down. Now, I'm not trying to pick the turn here. I'm just trying to be objective. Now, anybody who listens to me here knows that I'm a long-term bull. So whatever happens here, I'm a hodler, right? There's nothing here. I mean, it's going to have to go to zero to get me out of Bitcoin, right? So I'm long-term. So none of this really, it's not that it only upsets me in the context of people that might be getting hurt here. Well, so I mean, obviously we don't want to see people taking heavy losses here, and clearly there are people there's a lot of liquidation going on. It's not just crypto liquidation. People are liquidating because they're getting margin calls or they're getting squeezed out of other positions, so they're having to sell everything, right, just to raise capital. So it's not surprising that Bitcoin is moving with this, and we'll look at the correlation here in a moment or two. But I just caution you to be careful about abandoning everything that we've been looking at here and trying to read the market. As it gets there, now you're afraid to look on the long side. That's not how to make money in the long term. Now, again, I'm not saying that again, I'm never one to come here and start one of these and say, well, my count is the right count. I never, ever have said that. Because that's not how I think. I'm not trying to tell you what I see here is correct. I'm just trying to interpret the market action based on the rules and guidelines here that have guided me through a 27-year trading career. That's all. I'm just applying Elliott Wave here. And if this does this, okay, we'll just apply some Elliott Wave here and see if we can make sense of it. And there's an alternate count here. But let's just quickly, right? So before you're ready to abandon the idea that this, well, I've got people abandoning the idea that we're going 4-5, right? I mean, surprisingly, right? People whose opinion I respect, I'm just surprised. Right? It's just funny. It's just human nature, right? Just people freak out. Well, so first, let's just recreate just a little bit here. I won't spend a lot of time here. I wish, what am I, 6 minutes already? I'm going to get off this in a second. But God, could we have asked for it any more perfectly? Well, yeah, okay, as I said, right? Ideally, the D would have been a little bit higher. But as we sit here, look at the balance from one side of the median lines to the next. Everybody's very certain that triangle is going to blow, and it may blow out. It may, right? We can look at an alternate here, but right now, let's not see what happens is you start to fill in the empty space. You just start to see it. Well, in your mind's eye, you're seeing, that we're at least going down to challenge the 18 or 17 high. We're at least going that low. Oh, we could go much lower. We could challenge the wave one pivot and then the whole. Okay, well, I mean that. I'm happy to get on the other side of that trade, right? If that's your thinking, you can. I will take your Bitcoin all day on the way down, right? Because I'm not thinking about where it's going to be 6 months from now. I'm thinking about where it's going to be 6 years from now. But I digress a bit. Okay, so this, right? Of course, I mean, I've been talking about this as the perfect Elliott Wave for over a year. Now we get it, and everybody's banding. Right? Can't be right. Okay, well let's get the pitchfork off. How about just some Elliott channeling? Well, here now we can look at this and say, okay, if the triangle's going to blow out, maybe we got something coming down a little bit lower here. If this is 2-3, well, could be even lower, right? Maybe we're going 38, right? Here's our prime zone. Channeling would suggest that if we're coming down in this region, somewhere down here where we've talked about before, right? We know there's a shitload of liquidity down there. So if the market's going to come down here, you could certainly see a path that would bring us into, right? The triangle blows out, right? We're looking at an alternate here. We'll look at it in a second. You could see come down here, sweep all the lows. All right, that's what if the triangle breaks, which certainly it certainly could. If it breaks and then we go down and do this, right? Now, so down here, are you going to be ready to buy here? I will be. How about you? All right, sweep the lows, right? I may not sit here with a limit order. I'm certainly going to watch it, assuming if we get there. But I'm going to be looking for the right, here. What am I going to be looking for? Right there. Bring it back just a little bit. I'm long and strong there. Now that's me, right? Now I'm not trying to give you financial advice. I'm just telling you what I see and what I plan to do, right? If I get it, right? So show me a little reaction here, and boom, I'm in because what I'm anticipating is that. Now just look at it, right? Before you're ready to say, oh hell no. Well, there's just no way. Maybe we'll just do it that way. No way we're getting up there. No way. No way. There's no way we're going to have this, right? No possible way we're going to have this in Bitcoin, right? No way. No. I know much better. We're going to do this, right? We're going to just do this. Okay, again, I'm not saying we may do that, but that's not how I'm approaching it as a technical analyst. Okay, right, so I made my point there. Okay, let's get this off here. Right, so there's, oh God, is there anything else I want to go over here? I don't think so. Okay, so let's, well, here's a different look at it. Here, all I've done here, so this is the, maybe I'm just going to make it harder for you. Here, let me take that off because I know that's annoying. So all I've done here is just grab the pivot high here and gone all the way over here to this last swing low here. And I've just drawn the volume profile on it. So I get, the point being, I'm getting the low here of value and the high of value, right? So this is what we've been doing for the last year, right? So in between. So here's the low end of value. So you could almost kind of see this shaping up down here. Kind of fill that in a little bit more so you can see it, right? So we got something like that. So down here, if we're coming down to sweep the lows here, where you can see, right? So if a whale looking at that sees a meal down here and a big fat one. But look at the trend line. I mean, if you were going to get see, if it was any other asset here and it was in isolation and you were sitting right there, would you not be thinking, oh shit, for triangle, right? I'm looking to get long here. Well, let me get my first little 5 off of that and I'm in. But no, that's not how the herd looks at it, right? It's because we're all, right. It's hard not to be influenced by the media, right? Everything we see, everything we read. Okay, price action. What does the media say? Oh my God, whoa. Worst day in the Nasdaq. Well, so we get the best day, worst day, right? I mean, the volatility is absolutely insane, right? It's just because of the Fed, right? It's ultimately because of the Fed. They blew the bubble and now they're bursting it. So this is entirely on the Fed, entirely, right? They did all of it. So if it blows up, it's on them entirely. Okay, anyway, I digress here, but this is kind of interesting as we get this collection down here, and then there's an order block in there we'll look at in a second. But don't be so quick to abandon. Now, I don't know if you have this triangle or not, but let the market do it rather than you be filling in blanks, right? If the market breaks it, okay, it's broken. Right, but trying to anticipate often gets you in trouble. Let's go over one. What have I got over here? Well, if it can be a triangle, I've got a little bit of a combo here of market structure here with an Elliott count here, and I'm really just focusing on this section over here. So the emphasis being this trend line here that we've just tagged here on the low. Well, so if we just look at this, so how could this be a triangle? Well, as we've talked about before, so this would be the ABC of the C wave. So ABC, ABC, ABC here. This is such a chop monster. I'm really just going with the broader structure here. I don't think anyone gets a reasonable count in there. It's anyone's guess. So when that's the case, I'm just looking at the bigger swing structure here. Could that do it? Well, it could. It could. Am I ready to buy it? Not quite just yet. Right, I got to see a little bit more here. I'd like to see a change of character. Maybe a retrace here. Now we're coming out of this order block here that we've tapped. Right, this is the one negative here. We've tapped it already once, right? So here's the reaction you were looking for as we come back to it. Now, can we get out of here again? Well, there's going to need to be a catalyst. And we're going to need to not just keep rolling over throughout the course of the weekend, but you have the potential right now as it sits that could be your low. If we look here, here's the oh, let me hide this here so you can take that off, right? So here's the strong low, right? Now, is it strong enough to be the low? So if this is C, D, and we're coming in E, right, the anticipation is that this low will hold because this is the last low that did its job, that gave us the change of character, to give us a new high here. Right now, that remains the strong low because it's not been broken. From this pivot, there is no new low. Now, we break this, we blow up the triangle, we break the low, and then we'll fall right into the bottom, the last order block here at the base where, let's see if I pull this back out. Right, so as we come into it down here, if we break here, we'll look at the alternate in just a second here. But right now, this would be, I'd sure want to have an alert on it right there. If we break that low, then this becomes the stronger high, right? And then we're going to have to do some work to get back. And then this will be the order block, the last order back, the last down before we launched up through this Well, I think it's a zigzag. So we'll see. But right now, again, don't be so quick to abandon all the analysis that it's just staring you right in the face, right? Pretty much, I mean, there's no one I'm talking to, and members and senseis included, right? Think that's going to hold. Interesting. Right? I'm not a holdout to be stubborn. I'm just a holdout based on what the price action, right? If it breaks, right, then this count gets eviscerated and we look at the alternate. If it holds, well, then for the last year, all it did was everything you thought it would. Oh, have I got everything here? I think I do. That's everything I needed to cover here. Right. So we shall see, right? We shall see. Okay, let's look at the alternate. Okay, so let's assume, right? So for the sake of this analysis, that the low is going to break, that trend line breaks, and now we got to look at an alternate. Oh, gotta get rid of that thing. So same thing here. I've just drawn the volume profile from swing low to swing high of the three. I went all the way up to the pivot here because I just want to see this move here. The thinking being, okay, well I know, right, just because we just looked at it, right? I just drew the volume profile on this. This is just one big fat sideways consolidation. So what I'm more interested in, if we start to break and we head down here, we're mighty thin on this side. I wanted to see what it looked like in terms of, well, you know, where are the problem areas, right? All of this. Right, as we draw it over here, there's not a lot of support here. So where's the edge of value? That's the first thing I was looking for. Okay, well here's the low end is down at the absolute low. Here's the high end of value. Stretch it across. All right, kind of interesting, right? So we see that coming in, right? If we just kind of draw it in right here. We just bring that in here. I'm going to bring it down here to include the algo target. Well, then you got to look at this and say, okay, well, with Elliott rules and guidelines, what are my alternates here? What else could this be? See, if it's not going to be ABC, 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 right? It's not going to be a triangle. Well, we still have all these threes to deal with. What's the alternate, right? What else could it? Well, there are several here, but let's deal with at least the two that would probably have the highest conviction rate amongst eliticians. Oh, shit, I shouldn't say that. Maybe not. Who knows? I see it this way. A, B, C, right? There's a W. A, B, C, there's an X, right? Well, this is a, God damn it, I'm going to have to turn that into a 5. I've been reluctant to do that. Okay, well, here's the clear 3. Okay, so if we're coming down here and we're going to do it, and we're going to get an ABC here, well, what have I got, right? W, X, Y. It's not terribly radical. Okay, well, let's just look at the implications here. Does that change the idea that we're coming in for a 4? No. Does it change the idea that this is that the guideline of alternation where we have this sharp sell-off and then we have a sideways 4? Nope, doesn't change that. Really, the only thing it's changing is that we're eliminating the triangle as one of the ways to get to the 4. And now as this has been kind of a back and forth, could be this, could be that, could be. Well, let's assume the triangle breaks. So what do we got here now? So this is just a very traditional algo play. Swing, retrace to the 50. Oh my God, really? Oh, right to the 50? Oh, well, I wonder where that's going. Well, if it's going to go get his target, we know it's going right there. Well, now look how that starts to line up. Okay, well, here's the edge of value. Here are those lows where we're just talking about. You can see, right, what a rich target that would be to go down and sweep those lows. There's the algo target. Now, if we're coming down to get it, right, kind of on this trajectory here, we're going to get on the outside. So you'd look for a sliding parallel here. Oh God, let's do a 1.25 there. Probably decent. Let's be consistent. Something like that. All right, so we get a runner here. The balance here is very appealing here to have gone. This is 786, 887 on this side, and then if we're going to break outside, okay, well, could be a function of the malaise in the market and the market just processing the change in interest rate policy, and right, everything's everything's moving off of that. Virtually everything's moving off the 10-year. We're going to look at that in a second. Okay, so how could this do it? I don't see any reason why not. Although let me bring this back down here to there would be the 5 if we're going to do A, B, C. So now I've got, you see it right here, there's the 23. So look at the confluence I have right here. Okay, so I've got the 23.6 coming across here. I've got the edge of value of the swing low to swing of the third. I've got the full range of the full volume profile. Here's the edge of value. I've got an algo play here, right? We don't have to wonder what happened there. We know what happened there, right? Algo sold it. They're going to stay short until they get to this target or they get stopped out. So if they're going to get that target, we'd be right on the edge here, right on the edge. Okay, so what we're really talking about the difference of if it's a triangle, we're buying here at 36. If we're coming down here, we're buying at, well, shit, 27, right? So that's about a 10K difference. So I can certainly understand if people are reluctant here with the current price action without some, maybe get to even a 15-minute or 30-minute. Give me something that looks like a 5 to come off of there, right? Rather than just try and pick the turn. Right, let's let signs of strength present themselves. So if we do roll over, right, and I wouldn't be surprised if it happened this weekend, can we get all the way down here? Well, that's going out to the end of this month, right? I'd be surprised if we just dump and right into it over this weekend, but of course, market surprises us all the time. If we get there, right, same situation, we're still looking for some sort of little baby 5 to come out of there. Give me that 5, then give me that little retrace. Now I'm in, right? I'm looking for the 4, right? The whole time, right, since we put in that pivot, all of this has been waiting for the right setup over here for the 4. Because as far as I'm concerned, this is the highest path, right? Let me rephrase that. The most probable path would be these. My view, again, just my view, that 5 years from now, this will look silly, right? It'll look like, oh, God, remember that year where we went through the COVID and we went sideways for a year? Remember how silly that was? Kind of like this high, right? Oh, my God, 17. Oh, my God. Can you believe 17? Right now it gets to 69 and people, 17. Pff, that was nothing. Draw your own conclusions right here. I'm just applying the theory, right? And the technical analysis has guided me through my entire career, so I'm not going to change it now. All right, what else do I have? Okay, so we've got the triangle covered. We've got the alternate where we're going to do a flat, a zigzag, and then another zigzag, right? So, right. So this can be turned into a 5. Oh shit! I think I had it over here. Well, if you're going to do it. The finishing 5 is pretty hard to call that anything but an impulse finishing, right? So this would have to be the 3, this has to be the 4. So if you're gonna do it, right, you'd do it this way. 3. This would be the 4 over here. 1. Well, I think you do it there. 1, 2, right? This being, just a free fall, right? But there's the clear sell-off, clear correction into a 3, triple top. Can't get any better than a clear impulse. Okay, so we get it, right? So we get an ABC here. So that gives us the A, the B, and now we're looking for a C. Well, I mean, this is almost uncountable. Okay, maybe A, maybe B, but once we get into all that chop, right, there's almost no point. Let's get some swing structure to come out of it. Again, the key being that this is the strong low, right? So this being the weak high. So we got to get up out of here. Right? It's going to take a lot of buying. Well, what do I have down below, right? So this is not looking great here, right? At the very least, you want to see some new buying come in here. A little fake out here. What am I, 12-hour here? You want to see that here. Here you had some divergence here. You want to see that get back across 0 here. I mean, there was an effort yesterday, right, when they were trying. Okay, so I think we've covered that to death. Okay, let me just do I have it right? We went over this. Okay, bear with me. Okay, so let's look at the NQ because this is kind of interesting, right? So this is right now the Bitcoin is trading lockstep with the Nasdaq, right? Just lockstep, right? So until we get a low here in the NQ, that's likely to be continued weight on Bitcoin. So here's the correlation. Bitcoin is gold, right? Oh God, what have I got? Oh, pardon me. So Bitcoin is gold. The treasury notes are in green, and then the S&P is in blue, right? So we can see the Nasdaq here. So really what I'm looking at is the correlation between Bitcoin and the 10-year note, because Bitcoin, the Nasdaq is in lockstep with the 10-year note, and Bitcoin is in lockstep with the Nasdaq. So it seemed worthwhile to say, well, wait a minute, oh shit, what do we got here? Let's step back out here on the long term of the NQ, right? So here's the .com burst, here's the financial crisis, here's COVID, right? So all the major, well, I mean, this was pretty remarkable, but all of the major sell-offs, right, since this low, since the .com low. I mean, so this is entirely 100% due to the Fed, right? It's easy money, right? How do we save the economy? Easy money. Okay, 1, 2. Well, okay, 1, 2. Does it look like we've topped? Well, you're going to be hard pressed to get a clean 5 to finish out of that. Now, this is, the subdivision is tricky. But let's just focus in on this last bit here before we, assume that the top is in, right? So how do you call this anything other than 1, 2, right? It'd be hard to do. There's the COVID low. Oh, that's not gorgeous, right? But it's got to. You can get it. You can get there. 1, 2, and just broader swing structure. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, a few things to note here. Right? Again, I know you guys are all focused on crypto, but they're so tightly related. So here's the high probability zone for our third. So 1, 2. All right, we got a little bit through it. Oh shit, that's too much. We got a little bit through it. It's a little bit better, but we just on the other side of the 75 where we hit the upper edge of the median line. Okay, so that looks like a reasonable assumption to make that that's the 3. Okay, so if it's 1, 2, 3, well, here now, if that's the 3, we're coming back here. We're in between the 23 and the 38, right? Right where you might anticipate it. Now let me get down to a daily here, and we'll take a closer look at this. I'll come here. Okay, so this is kind of tough, kind of a tricky count, right? This is your best guesstimate. Sure looks like you're stuck with a WXY there, right? There's not a clean impulse. So it looks like to me we're doing a double WXYX. Now this gets really wonky, but it looks like we go XAB into the double here, and we've got an impulse that's come down here. We're into the order block at the low here. We've just hit the 50% of it. Could that be the low? Well, yeah, could be. Oh, I think from the pivot high here, right, we've looked at this before. Okay, right, so we know, right, so swing high, let me get that right on there, right, so this should surprise exactly 0 people. I've shown you this before, right, from high to low before we retrace, right into the golden zone. Now that is the strong high, right, because that gave us the new low. So down here, I'm just pulling the order block from over here. Could I be done? Could I be done is really what I'm looking at here. Could I be done? Well, you're assuming this algo is not going to get its target, right? So that's a bit of an assumption, but okay, right? Just because it's there doesn't mean that it must get there. Pretty good impulse coming down. Now, are we done here, or is this well, you can see how it might have more, right? So if this is 1, and we're going to do a little 2, and then be 3, 4, we could definitely be going lower. You'd be starting to break down some of the geometry, just like Bitcoin here. Look at how cleanly this contains the market, right? You've just, and now granted we have the outside pivot here, but looking at this, right, median line, now we're coming off to the other edge, much like we've done with Bitcoin, although this is steeper. Not really great alternation here. This is such a free fall, and this is choppier. But you wouldn't call that ideal. Where is it ideal, right? The guidelines of alternation, Bitcoin. Okay, but so here we come down into this area here. Now we've got potential support. It's just that. Here we're on the edge of value as well here. Right, this has all been outside of value, right? Pulling from swing low to swing high. The other way to look at this, let me go back to the weeklies just to emphasize the Fed here, what they've done. Here, look at it this way. Right, so here's the natural progression of the market. This is COVID, right? When all the stimulus came in, right? That gave us this, I'm assuming you can kind of see. We were on this nice path here, nice normal glide of the market, and then when we get here, you get this rip, right? That's 100% Fed related, right? That's the only way the market does that, right? The Fed did it. Now this is the paying the piper, right? Fed now is they're in a world of hurt, right? They fucked it up, right? So now how far do we go, right? They'll never admit they fucked it up, but they fucked it up, right? Too much, way too much easy money, too much stimulus, all of it, right? The inflation now, right? Could they have foreseen Ukraine, all of that, right? It's easy for them to say, well, we didn't know, right? All right, I understand. Okay, what did I want to see? Okay, let's just go over here because the Nasdaq's not going to turn until this stops, right? So until the Nasdaq stops bleeding, Bitcoin's going to keep bleeding, and the Nasdaq's going to keep bleeding until the 10-year turns around. Okay, so this is the weekly on the 10-year, right? Nice, beautiful 5, right? So you get a clear diag. Oh God, I always forget to take that off, right? So I mean, hard Is there anyone who would have trouble spotting a 5 there? That's kind of a silly question, right? Obviously, right? So nice ABC, 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 or it's just a perfect diag, right? And then you might look at that and, well, okay, so one thing, if you think crypto and the futures are technical, oh my God, just have a look at the bonds, right? There's nothing as technical as the bonds. It's also one of the hardest markets to trade, right? It's expensive to trade. I only trade it with options. Oh, let's do them one at a time here. I'll take this off. Okay, from the low, right? How's that, right? So swing, retrace, median line. Well, you got it here, right? But retrace over to get the median line here, right? So there's 80% twice. How about the correction? Right to the median line. So you got it twice. 1, 2, you got it 3 times here. How about the last one? Swing low to the 3, to the 4, to the median line, right? Just bang, 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 bang. Now I show that and I remind you, this is the least used, least understood technical tool of every technical tool available to you anywhere. Nobody, well, percentage-wise, the amount of people that even know how to use it, staggering, right? Staggering. Do you think retail knows how technical that is? That's a rhetorical question because they do not, right? They don't even know what it is, right? It's just some other little, some little widget on thing. Oh, fucking pitchfork. Fuck, I don't know what to do with that. I mean, is there, right? Could you trade this market with just median lines? Yeah, I think you probably could. So you look here and you think, oh, okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Whoa, sure looks like something completed there in a 5. Well, that's a pretty abrupt. Let's take those off now, having made the point, right? I can't imagine. I literally cannot imagine how anyone could see that. I mean, shit, I've shown it to, I don't know how many times, right? Anyone could see that and then go, oh, yeah, it's kind of interesting. And not have a set of median lines on every 3 pivots that you could find. Just a suggestion, right? This shit, oh, yeah, that was in the 60s. Yeah, that shit doesn't work anymore. Really? Okay. Let's take it off. Okay. Well, we got 5. What would we be looking for from the low, right? Again, just common shit. As rudimentary as it gets. Oh, maybe we'll get a retrace to the 50. Oh, probably got an order block in there. Oh, what do I got here? So that's already got that one on. Well, there's your order block right there. I think I've got everything on there. Okay, so we're just... Right, last down here, we've come into it, right? We got right to the edge of it. Right, doesn't look like it's ready to rip out of there. I mean, that is a weekly chart. I might take it down to the daily, right? And say, okay, right, I would need to see if we're gonna come out of here. You got to at least break one of these highs, give me a change of character. All right, maybe we, right now come back down. Right now, that's going to start to look interesting. Now you might potentially have a flip, but right now it's just lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, right. Until that changes, this isn't going to turn. Until this turns, the Nasdaq's not going to turn. And until the Nasdaq turns, Bitcoin's not going to turn. So the thing to be watching, if you want to get long Bitcoin, is the 10-year. Just a suggestion. Oh, what the hell do I have over here? Oh, this same kind of thing, although this was a nice example here of the market structure here, the triple top into the supply zone here, pretty remarkable, right? Very hard trade to take, right? And you really had to take it almost in the overnight, right? Because it started after, so it closed in the supply zone, then it started after the close because I was watching it and I traded it a little bit. Over in the futures market, it started to come down, right? I didn't get a fuck. I wish I didn't stay with it, right? You had to stay with it all night. I got some of that first little push, right? Picked up a decent little amount of scalping off of that. But you had to write it down all night, right? So, but just for a demonstration of, don't ignore these supply zones, right? Because this is if you've watched any of that training, right? These trades are incredibly hard to take, right? It's screaming it right back into the pivot, right? That's the one you got to take. Same thing here, right? Hard to take, right? And that was in the close, right? So that one, very few people took that unless you stuck around trying to trade the overnight. Okay, I'm digressing. Let me get all the way. Shit, is that everything I had? Oh, I think it is. All right, so here, let's see how we're doing here. This is going to take a big effort here, right? So the first thing now, again, just a suggestion, before you abandon this count, at least have it somewhere. So you might keep this one and this one, right? So, okay, if it's going to break, well, let's be clear about identifying those locations where there might be opportunity to get on board, right? On the assumption that the thing that I think is least likely, of course I could be wrong, is that we went 3, 4, 5, right? And that this is the correction and we're going down to some of these levels. I think that is certainly possible, but least probable, my view. Right, so there we go. All right, that's a pretty good look at it. I'm probably not taking as long as I usually do. Anything here that I wanted to go over? I think not. Okay, so there you go. That's my view here. I don't think there's anything to jump on there going into the weekend. All right, it's a little. Well, how's the Nasdaq doing? Oh, back down. That's not too bad. All right, so we're heading back down. Right, so if we break, right, it looks like it could happen. Then I quickly, right, then the triangle comes off, and then this will become my primary, and I'll be looking for all of that to happen down in this range. So that would be really your pocket here is from 30 to high 27s, right? On the assumption they're going to sweep that. They'll get that right, freak the entire market out. They'll get all this. They'll get all the liquidity down there, and then we go. Right, would be what I would be looking for if we're going to just keep rolling over here into the weekend. Okay, guys, there you go. Lots to think about. Don't forget, you can always come over here, join us. Right? They always tell me to do this in the beginning. I always forget. You can join us, right? Free, social, educational, right? This is all the belt system, right? For the additional investment there. This and plenty of value here. And you can go through all of these, see what's available to you in each of those here. This gets you everything but the upper belts, but you participate in our live streams. You virtually get everything but the upper belt channels, right? So there's a lot of value in that social membership. Keep that in mind. And so with that, here, wish you guys... Going to be interesting to see where we are next week. Okay, guys, have a good weekend, and I'll catch you on Monday for our next live stream. Okay, until then.